Hey, how's it going? Hope everybody's doing all right. Welcome back. We're going to be messing around today with a more simple idea. This is going to be a green-blue Scry deck with the subcategory of Elves. So the idea is that we just Scry a lot, so we know what we're getting. Um, Now the question that I have here is which commander, because I got four, they are all from the Lord of the Rings set. And I think each of them would work okay for what we're going for. But let's take a look at what our options are and go on from there. So our first choice is going to be Arwen Undamiel. Legendary Elf Noble. Whenever you scry, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Or you can pay 4, a green and a blue to scry 2. She is a 2/2 for 1 green, 1 blue. Pretty cheap, easy to get out there. Good stuff. Our next choice is also a green-blue. Gretchen Titchwillow, legendary halfling druid. You can pay 2, a green and a blue to draw a card, and you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. She's an 0/4. So that one's less on the scrying part, but more on ramping, getting some card draw and some lands out there quicker. Our next option is Galadriel of Lothlorien, a colorless green and a blue, or generic mana. Legendary Elf Noble. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you chose a creature other than Galadriel as your ring bearer, scry 3. Whenever you scry, you may reveal the top card of your library. If it is a land revealed, put into your battlefield tapped. She is a 3/3. So that one's also good for some quick ramping. Legolas, counter of kills. 2, a green and a blue. Legendary Elf Archer, reach. Whenever you scry, if he is tapped, you may untap it. Do this only once each turn. And whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Legolas. He is a 2/3. Now these are our 4 commander choices. I'm less likely inclined to do the Galadriel one because we don't have anything that tempts you, I believe. So that one's probably going to be less likely. And I am digging more and more on these. We'll probably do it in this order of preference for now, but those are what we have available. We'll look again at them at the end after we've reviewed the rest of our cards and what we can do. So let's go ahead and take a look at our artifacts and enchantments. Yeah. So we got your typical Soul Ring, 1 to tap for 2 colorless. We have Commander's Plate, which is 1. It's an equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+3, has protection from each color that is not in the commander identity, so red, white, and black. 3 to equip to the commander, or 5 in general. Candy Trail, 1 mana. It's an artifact food clue. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2, and then you can pay 2 to sacrifice it. You gain 3 life and draw a card. Eldamri's Vineyard, 1 green. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's pre-combat main phase, that player adds 2 green. A little bit of a incentive for other people to leave you alone. Trailblazer's Boots, 2 mana for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature has non-basic land walk, meaning it can't be blocked if it's a not basic land type. Equipped cost for 2. Oh, these are... Did that somehow make its way in here? These are supposed to just be permanents. Yeah, somehow we got a sorcery in there. We'll take that out. We'll come back to that. Ground Seal. It's an enchantment, 1 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and cards in graveyards can't be the targets of spells or abilities. I like to throw that one in every now and then because there's a lot of graveyard play these days. Life Force, 2 green. It's an enchantment. You can pay 2 green to counter target black spell. Colony Heart Expedition, 1 and a green. It's an enchantment with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you can put a quest counter on it. And then you remove 3 quest counters, sacrifice it, and look for 2 basic lands, put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Lightning Greaves, 2 and equipment. Equipped creature has haste and shroud, equip for 0. Mirror of Galadriel, 2 cost. You can pay 5 to tap and scribe 1, then draw a card. It is 1 less cost to activate for each legendary creature you control. Arcane Signet, 2 cost. Tap for any color in your commander's color identity. Sapphire Medallion, 2 cost artifact. Blue spells are 1 less cheaper for you. Emerald Medallion, 2 cost. Green spells are 1 less cheaper for you. Rona's Monument, 3 cost. Green creatures are 1 cheaper to cast for you. And then whenever you cast a green creature, target creature you control gets +2/+2 and trample until end of turn. Careful Cultivation, 2 and a green. It's an aura. You enchant an artifact or a creature. As long as the enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets +1/+3, has reach, and taps for add 2 green. Or you can channel it to pay 1 and a green to discard it to create a 1/1 human, a green human monk creature token with add tap 1. Tap to add 1 green, sorry. Then we got Silver Shroud Costume, 2 cost. It's a flash. When this card enters, attach it to target creature you control. That creature gains Shroud until the end of turn, and the equipped creature cannot block, or a basic equip cost of 3. Mithril Coat, 3 cost. Legendary artifact. This one is a flash as well, but it's also indestructible. So when it enters, you attach it to target legendary creature you control. Equipped creature has indestructible, or an equip for cost for 3. Crystal Ball, 3 mana. Pay 1 to tap and scry 2. Seer's Lantern, 3 costs. You can tap to add a colorless, or you can pay 2 and tap to scry 1. Sword of Body and Mind, 3 cost. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from green and blue. Then whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, and that player mills 10 cards. Equip cost 2. Sword of Fire and Ice, 3 cost. Equipped creature has +2/+2 and protection from red and blue. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, the sword deals 2 damage to any target, and you draw a card with 2 cost. Sword of Once and Future, 3 cost to cast. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and protection from blue and black. Whenever a creature deals combat damage surveil to, then you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard for free. Exiled if it would enter the graveyard. Equip cost 2. Sword of Wealth and Power, 3 cost. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from instants and sorceries. Whenever you deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token, and then your next instant or sorcery spell you cast that turn, copy it and choose new targets. Equip cost 2. Wilderness Reclamation, 3 and a green. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. Primeval Bounty, 5 and a green. Whenever you cast a green creature spell, create a 3/3 green beast creature token. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put 3 +1/+1 counters on target creature control. And landfall, whenever a land enters under the battlefield under your control, you gain 3 life. And then Coveted Jewel, 6 mana cost. When it enters the battlefield, you draw 3 cards. You tap it to add 3 mana of 1 color. The drawback is whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls attacks you, and if you don't block it, that player draws 3 and then gains control of it and untaps it. So that's our artifacts and enchantments. Most of these are looking pretty good. I like the Primeval Bounty because that gives you a bunch of different options regardless of what type of spell that you cast. And then getting that back out for some of your spells here, should you need a counter spell or draw before stuff goes down, it's always a nice thing. Let's see how much we got here. 4, 8, 12, 14, 18, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 26. Okay, I got to remember that. 26. So that's looking all right. It's good numbers. Somewhere in the 20 for artifacts and enchantments. And so far, nothing jumps out as screaming we don't need it. Let's move over to our creatures. So I got 2 planeswalkers we'll include with creatures. The first one is Jace, Mirror Mage. It is 1 and 2 blue for a legendary planeswalker with a 2 kicker. When it enters, if it was kicked, you create a token that's a copy of it, except it's not legendary and it starts at 1 loyalty. Your +1 is to Scry 2. Your 0 is to draw a card and reveal it, and then you remove any loyalty counters equal to that converted mana cost from Jace. Then we got Oko, Thief of Crowns, 1, a green, and a blue. You can +2 to create a food token. You can +1 to have target artifact or creature lose all abilities and become a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3. Or you can -5 to exchange control of target artifact or creature you control with target artifact or creature an opponent controls with power 3 or less. That one's a really strong one. So if you got it, awesome. Your typical Llanowar Elves, a green, tap and add a green. It's a 1/1. We got the Marrowleaf Pixie, green and a blue. It's a flying 2/2 that taps to add a green or a blue. Leaf Crowned Visionary. It's 2 green. Elf Druid. Other elves you control get +1/+1. And whenever you cast an elf spell, you may pay a green. If you do, draw a card. Llanowar Loam Speaker, 1 and a green. Elf Druid. Tap it to add a mana of any color. Or you can tap it to have a target land you control become a 3/3 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It's still a land, activate only as a sorcery. That is a 1/3, power toughness. Pollen Bright Druid, 1 and a green. When Pollen Bright Druid enters the battlefield, choose 1. You can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, or you can proliferate, and that is a 1/1. We got Fauna Shaman, which is 1 and a green. You can pay a green and tap it to discard a creature card. Then search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. That is a 2/2. Wren's Run Vanquisher, 1 and a green. As an additional cost, cast a spell, reveal an elf card from your hand, or pay 3 extra mana. It has Death Touch and is a 3/3. Elvish Archdruid. That's 1 and 2 green. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1, and you can tap it to add a green for each elf you control. That is a 2/2. We have Enduring Vitality. That is 1 and 2 green. It's an enchantment creature with vigilance, and creatures you control have tap to add a mana of any color. When it dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner control as an enchantment. It's a 3/3. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, 1, a green and a blue. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it is escaped. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life, draw a card, then you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. Its escape cost is 2 green and 2 blue, and exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. Otherwise, it's a 6/6. Kami of Whispered Hopes, 2 and a green. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a permanent you control, that many +1 are put on that permanent instead. Then you can tap to add X amount of mana of any one color, where X is this creature's power. It is a 1/1. Lifespring Druid, 2 and a 1, 2 and a green. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. That is a 2/1. Red Tooth Genealogist, 2 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, create a Royal Roll token attached to another target creature you control. It is a 2/3. Sentinel of Lost Lore, 1 and 2 green. When Sentinel of Lost Lore enters the battlefield, choose 1 or more. Return target card you own in exile that has an adventure to your hand. Put target card you don't own in exile that has an adventure on the bottom of its owner's library. Exile target player's graveyard. It is a 3/4. Now, I don't think we have any exiles for adventure cards in here, so the only one real reason to have this is for the exiling a target player's graveyard, which could be really good with some of the graveyard play that's going on. And it's a 3/4, so it's kind of a bigger creature. Evolution Sage, 2 and a green. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, proliferate. It is a 3/2. Eladamri, Core Vectol, 1 and 2 green. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. You can pay a green to tap it and tap 2 untapped creatures you control. Reveal a card from your hand or the top of your library. If you reveal a creature card this way, put it onto the battlefield. Activate only during your turn. It is a 3/3. It's a nice way to kind of cheat out some bigger creatures. Realm Walker, 2 and a green. It is a changeling, so it'll count as an elf. Choose a creature type. You may look at the top card of your library anytime and cast creature spells of the chosen type from the top of your library. It is a 2/3. Dwynnen, Gilt Leaf Dane, 2 and 2 green. She has reach. Other elves get +1/+1. Elves you control. And then whenever she attacks, you gain 1 life for each attacking elf you control. She is a 3/4. Inga Rune-Eyes. When Inga Rune-Eyes enters the battlefield, scry 3. When Inga dies, draw 3 cards if 3 or more creatures die this turn. That is a 3/3. Beast Whisperer, 2 and 2 green. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. 2/3. Springleaf Avenger, 3 and 2 green. Ninjutsu for 3 and a green. That is whenever a creature attacks and is unblocked, you can pay that cost to swap them in. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. That is a 6/5. I have that one in there because graveyard recursion. Emoti, Celebrant of Bounty, 3, a green and a blue. Cascade. Spells you cast with mana value 6 or greater have Cascade. It is a 3/1. I don't know how much that it will come into play. We'll have to take a look at how many mana value 6 or greater we got. So far we have 2 on the enchantment and artifacts. Murkfiend Liege. This is 2 and then 3 sets of Simic. Blue-green, blue-green, blue-green. Other creatures you control that are green get +1/+1. Other blue creatures you control get +1/+1. And then you can untap all green and or blue creatures you control during each other player's untap step. It is a 4/4. Tatiova, Benthic Druid, 3, a green and a blue. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, gain a life and draw a card. Gruff Triplets, 3 and 3 green. Trample. When it enters the battlefield, if it is not a token, you create 2 additional tokens that are a copy of it. And then when Gruff Triplets dies, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power on each creature you control named Gruff Triplets. It is a 3/3. That is our third 6 mana or greater. Sifter Worm, 5 and 2 greens. Trample. When Sifter Worm enters the battlefield, scry 3. Then reveal the top card of your library. You gain life equal to that card's converted mana cost. It is a 7/7. All right. Spotter Thopter, 8 mana. Or its prototype cost for 3 and a blue. Prototype is a 2/3. Regular is a 4/5. And both will have flying. And when it enters the battlefield, you scry X where X is its power. So you will either scry 2 or 4. And then we've got Galta Primal Hunger, 10 and 2 green. The spell cost X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. Trample, 12/12. Now, some of these aren't elves because it's a subtype of the deck, not a full type of the deck. And we want to have some other big bombs that will help compensate for the lower power and toughness for the elves. Because they don't get up to this level of powerful on elves, unfortunately. So let's see where that puts us. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24, 28. So 26 and 28. Not a bad round of numbers, plus another 2 planeswalkers. I'll put us at 30 creature type permanents. There might be 1 or 2 in here that we can probably pull out. That doesn't have as much to do with what we're going for. I like the mana dorks. All the mana dorks definitely helps in green ramp for sure. Looking at stuff, land. Sentinel of Lost Lore is an iffy. Red Tooth Genealogist we can probably take out because don't really need a royal roll. Yeah, that one's not feeling right. Mana, buffs mana, Ramp card draw. Elf creature mana. Yeah. Scry. Buffing elf. Life gain. Okay. Yeah, these are looking all right for now. And we'll take another secondary count. So that'll drop us down to 29. Alrighty. Now let's move on to spells. Instants and sorceries. Alright, so let's put that back in there with that. Alrighty. Starting off with the ones. We've got Brainstorm, 1 blue. Draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Opt, 1 blue, scry 1, draw a card. Aqueous Form, blue. Enchant creature, it cannot block. Enchanted creature cannot be blocked, and then whenever enchanted creature attacks, scry 1. Ponder, the blue. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put them back in any order. You may shuffle, draw a card. 1 green, Fog. No creatures deal damage in combat this turn. Noxious Revival, Phyrexian green, which is 2 life or a green. Put target card from a graveyard on top of its owner's library. Another recursion there. Counterspell, 2 blue. Counter target spell. Pretty simple. Explorer, 1 and a green. You may play an additional land this turn. Draw a card. Freeze in place, 1 in a blue. Tap target creature an opponent controls, put 3 stun counters on it, and then scry 2. Heroic Intervention, 1 in a green. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Natural End, 2 in a green. Instant destroy target artifact or enchantment, you gain 3 life. Then we got Kodama's Reach and Cultivate, which are both 2 in a green. And you basically look for 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, the other into your hand, then shuffle. Flare of Cultivation, 1 and 2 green. You may sacrifice a non-token green creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Search your library for 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand, then shuffle. So it's 3 Cultivates, 3 Kodama's Reaches, pretty much. Galadrim Ambush, 3 and a green. Instant. Create X 1/1 green warrior elf warrior creature tokens where X is the number of attacking creatures. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-elf creatures. So that gives you a bunch of creatures and prevents the damage that they got coming at you. Doppelgang, 3 colored X's, so that means you need to pay 3 in order to get 1. Green and a blue. For each of X target permanents, create X tokens that are copies of it. So you pay 3 to get 1 copy, you pay 6 to get 2 copies, etc. And then Devastation Tide, 3 and 2 blues. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hand, or the miracle cost of 1 and a blue for when you draw the first card of that turn. All right, so we don't have as many instants and sorceries, unfortunately, but they're all on the cheaper end of the cost spectrum, so that's great. That'll leave us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 plus 29, that will be 46. And then we had 26? Was it 26? Oh no, I forgot. I think it was 26. Let's double it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so yeah, 26 plus 46. That's going to put us at 72. So we need to get rid of at least 2 cards. Because we do, even though we're only picking 1 of these as the commander, we do want to get these other 3 in because they do have good effects. So at least 3 cards that we want to remove. Oh no, we're going to need to do a couple more because we want to swap them in. That's right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and go through some of the stuff here, see what we got. This one's still a maybe because while it gives us 2 green, which is great for the ramp, it gives everybody else 2 green as well. So that one will have to be a maybe because we don't necessarily want to help out everybody, but at the same time, we may need to for the benefit of ourselves. Scrying, keep that. Good protection, mana. A temporary shroud, but then unblockable could be clutch, because if you need to get one guy in to finish in, even though I have the wall again, one unblockable could be really good. The medallions for reduction cost will help with a lot of stuff. Arcane Signet, we got our Scryer, and Lightning Greaves for haste. I think those are all solid. We might not need Colony Heart Expedition because we've already got 3 spells that do that. Having an enchantment that does that as well, yeah, that's too many of the same thing. I said if we didn't have any more Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, if we didn't have 3 of those, if we only had 1 or 2, maybe I'd consider keeping this, but we can probably put that one out. All right. I think we'll count Sentinels, taking that one out for now. Life Force. Pay 2 green to counter target black spell. This will only work if the other people in their pod have black spells, which they probably will. Black is a fairly popular color to play. So I think we'll set that one as a maybe for now as well. Because I do want to have onto it, because it's fun to just be able to, like, I can pay 2 green and counter whatever black spells you come out with. Same with Ground Seal. Preventing cards to be the targets of spells and abilities is going to hurt a lot of graveyard plays out there. And I've been playing against a lot of graveyard recently. So this would be great for me. I don't know about the rest of you, but we're going to go ahead and hang on to that. Let me move these aside here. Trailblazer Boots, another unblockable if you need it. Now we could probably get rid of 1 or 2 of the swords here. Let's see. We could probably do without the Body and Mind, because creating a token and milling 10 cards. I mean, you can keep Body and Mind if you like milling their cards, but if they have a graveyard play deck, you don't want that. And for me, I have a lot of that, so I probably wouldn't do the sword. Fire and Ice, red and a blue. Blue is a great color. There's a lot of bounces out there. Red's a great color. There's a lot of damage spells. Then just dealing 2 damage to any target and drawing a card. If they got a low-cost power creature, something like our commander, that's 2. You can take that out and draw a card. So that's a pretty good keep. Let's see. Protection from black and blue. Surveil. And then free casts on some of our... We do have a lot of 2 or lower spells that we can cast from the graveyard once. What would be some good ones? Card from graveyard. That one won't work. Ponder's good. It's instant or sorceries, so that's an enchantment. Opt, Brainstorm, Heroic Intervention. Technically you could, but this is after you've done combat damage to something else. So unless they have a board wipe after, or you want a board wipe after, might not be. Freeze in Place would be a good one. Guys, just some Scry, drawing a card, and extra land. So there's a couple there that would be good, but not too many. So I don't know about the Surveil from the graveyard, but I think the Sword and Wealth and Power would work better because it creates a treasure token, so it creates mana, and then whatever spell you cast next, you copy it. So you could copy a lot of these things. So I think that would be a good one to keep. We'll keep that sword and we'll get rid of once in future. Okay. Seer's Lantern, that scries, we want that. Crystal Ball, that scries, we want that. Equip Creatures Indestructible, we want that. Protection's good. I am going to hang on to this one because not only does it give it a +1/+3, it gives it reach. I mean, the tapping for 2 mana is good, But with a lot of the things that they're having something that will give you something to take care of the flyers, I think it's going to be a good add as well. Green creatures costing less, buffing stuff and giving it trample is great. Untapping all your lands is great. Primeval Bounty for sure, and Coveted Jewel is a toss-up in the air. Because while it's draw 3 for us and 3 mana for us, the first time, if you don't have a good wall set up to prevent them from getting through, they're getting it. And they're getting 3 cards and 3 mana. So we'll put that as a maybe. All right, I think we got rid of a decent amount of stuff. So let's do a quick recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so that's now 20. Right? Did I do that right? Sorry, I'm trying to keep the mana costs similar in the same place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay, so we moved down to 20 artifacts and enchantments from 26. So that's actually pretty decent. I don't think we need to remove any instance of sorceries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 17, 20, that's 37. Then we got 1, 2, 3, that will be 40. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. 69. So then that means we've got one of these 3 that we can drop back in. I think we're doing all right on mana because we got a couple mana buffs, a couple mana dorks. So I think we can do all right without Eladamri's Vineyard. The counterspell for Life Force could be really funny. It's going to be very specific for black, but there is a lot of black in decks out there. And then the Coveted Jewel of card draw and mana. That could also be really good. I mean, we wouldn't need the mana as much with all the other ramps that we got. It's still really nice, but that card draw, it's that card draw that's what we want. It could be okay giving them 1 turn for that because we do have 1 or 2 unblockable things that we can then send back at it because you only get it when you attack and they are not blocked. So we got 2 things to make it unblocked. So we could get it back real easy. Yeah, this is probably going to be better for that reason. So we'll take Coveted Jewel and we'll send Life Force away. All right, so now that sets us up at our card total. Now what we need to do is determine which one our commander is. So we do have a lot of Scry. Got a good amount of Scry and stuff, some elf buff stuff, and these are all elves except for Gretchen, that's a halfling. So we probably will have Gretchen just be a regular creature. And we don't have anything that tempts you to give you the Scry 3, but when you Scry, you can reveal and get extra land. So that's not bad for Galadriel. We are missing out on the first ability, but yeah. I think we'll have to put Legolas as a regular creature as well, because his Scry just untaps him. We want something that will give us more for its benefit. So either land or creature buffing. That's a tough one. I'm almost wanting to go with Arwen as well, because whenever you don't have anything else in your hand, if you got the mana, which we're likely to have the mana, we can just scry and buff some stuff. So that gives us an option aside from Galadriel. So I think we'll make Arwen our commander, and Galadriel will hang back. All right, I think that will set us up pretty good for what we got. Okay, and yeah, let's set these aside for a moment here. And let me grab our land. So the land's pretty simple, nothing too fancy. Got yourself 10 islands, nice and pretty. Got yourself 10 forests, nice shiny one. And then you leave yourself with 10 others. So the ones I decided to go with on this one are the Talon Gates of Madara. When it enters, up to one target creature phases out. It taps to add a colorless. You can pay 1 to add a color to add a mana of any color. Or you can pay 4 to return it to your hand. So if you have some landfall, which we got 2 or 3 things in there, bring it up, put it back down to get the trigger and a phase, which could work on targeting somebody else's creatures. Have their thing phase out for a turn as well. Could be really good. Temple of the False God. Tap for 2 colorless. Activate only if you control 5 or more lands. Reliquary Tower. You have no maximum hand size. Tap and add a colorless. Path of Ancestry enters tapped. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, and when it is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. Sounds great. Yavimaya Coast, tap for a colorless, or you can tap green or blue and it deals 1 damage to you. Tropical Island, taps for a green or a blue. Go ahead and snag yourself a proxy of that. Gemstone Caverns, this is the Glittering Caves of Aglarond, but it's actually a Gemstone's Caverns. When it enters, if it is in your opening hand and you're not the starting player, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield with a luck counter on it. If you do, exile a card from your hand. It taps to add a colorless, or if it has a luck counter on it, 1 mana of any color. Temple of Mystery enters tapped. When it enters, you scry 1, adds for a green or a blue. Simic Growth Chamber enters tapped, and when it comes into play, you return a land you control to your hand. This taps for a green and a blue. And then finally, Command Tower. So I think that there is a decent setup for a basic scry deck with some elves. And you can get a couple big boys, make other things big, so you can swing out and do some stuff. Again, nothing too simple or complicated. Taking a simple mechanic like scry, grabbing what you have available to scry. I only had so much, but it works. A couple things that let you look at the top, so you know if you're going to need a land, pull stuff out with the other combos on those. Mana for elves, buffing elves, proliferate. So you got some good stuff that are going to come in here. 1 or 2 ways to cheat out creatures. So it's got some fun stuff to it. And it doesn't make too many tokens. I think you make elves and like 1 other thing, so you don't need to worry about that very much. But yeah, I hope that seems like a nice, fun, casual old time. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll catch you later.